Alright guys, in this one we're going to take a look at how we can use the potentiometer to adjust the rate at which our light blinks. As you can see here, as I adjust this, the rate starts to change, which is awesome. And this might come in really handy for some of the programs and projects that you're doing. And so let's get into this here a little bit, and let's go ahead and dive into the code. I'm actually going to unplug this for just right now. So that you can see. And so when we go ahead and link up here and we get to this code, you're going to see some cool things here that you haven't seen before. First and foremost, you're going to be seeing that we're going to be syncing up our Arduino on the analog pin. And this is something that's pretty awesome. And so the first thing that we have is that I want to talk about is we have our potentiometer here. And I'm going to go ahead and just pull this out here for a minute. And you're going to see that there's three prongs here. A potentiometer, or they call it a pot, is just a control knob. We can twist it back and forth, as you can see here. And this is like what you use to change volume, how you dim a lamp. For some of you, it's somewhat similar to like a knob where you can control like your fan speed if you have one at your house. And all this is going to do is we're going to take the voltage that it's supplying and adjust that to a number reading for the LED light. And so we're going to use the two outside pins as the power and ground. And the middle pin is going to be our signal from 0 to 5 volts that the Arduino can handle. And so then we're going to go ahead and get that all wired up. As you can see here, we've got this blue wire here coming out to be in our positive, all right, which we have plugged in here to our ground. We have the green is our signal, and so we have this in analog because analog can read unlimited numbers. Remember, digital is either high or low. It's either on or it's off. Analog has unlimited numbers, so we're going to go right into A0 on this one here. And then our last one is our ground going into the negative, and you can see that that connects to the black, which is plugged in right here to the ground. And then our last thing that we have is our LED light. And so I have this plugged into pin 13 right here, and this is my long leg, and then I've got a resistor just so my LED doesn't blow right here, completing the circuit. And so what's going to happen as we go to code this here, as you can see here on the screen, is it's going to get this signal from this potentiometer, and we're going to use that as a delay in between the pausing of this turning this LED light on and off. Before, in our previous ones, we were using a delay command. Now we're going to take this variable and make it happen. So a couple great things about this is that you can do a lot of really cool things with the potentiometer. So as we jump into this code here, you're going to see these things. We've got our integer sensor pin. It's A0. And so that's this right here. This is that wire, that middle pin of the potentiometer right there. This is what we're connecting it to. We got our LED pin in 13, as we already have that, and we've done that many times. And then we've got a new one here, this integer the sensor value, which we're going to be using later. This allows us to have the new value that we're going to be able to use and plug in, which as I move this, it can adjust for the light. Now down here in void setup, we have pin mode, and we have LED pin output. So we've done this before because we want the LED to actually give out a command. Now, the one thing that's different is you would think that we would need this sensor pin identified right here in this A0. But because analog is always used for input, they have the ability to read voltages. It's never used for anything else. It's always an input. So we actually don't have to declare that down here with the pin mode and say that sensor pin is an input, because in analog it's always an input. So then down here we've got our void loop. This is the program. So we have our sensor value is going to be equal to the analog read. Okay, and that analog read is our condition right here for the sensor pin. So whatever value of voltage our sensor pin's reading, whether it's 1 volt, 2.2, whatever it is, it's going to kick that right here into this, and that's going to be the name of the sensor value. So this allows us, when I turn it, it can constantly get a new reading. It's constantly looping depending on when I turn it, so it's real time. And then down here we have our digital write. So then the digital write is going to turn it on. So the LED light's on here. Then our delay is that sensor value command. And so as I change this, this is what disrupts the pause in between. And then it goes to low again. And so then when I do plug this back in, you can see that when I adjust this now, it adjusts based on what I want to do here. And so this is just another awesome option, something for you to think about in terms of how can you use this in some of your coding and programming. And there's lots of different ways, not just LED lights, but for other things as well. Alright guys, here is a basic how to use potentiometer. One more couple steps before we start building our pumpkin.